Golden handcuffs after buying when rates were 3? We bought at the end of 2020. Decent house but certainly not a forever home. Our rate is 2.65. Seems silly to complain but we're in a golden handcuffs situation. We were hoping to upgrade after a few years but the future looks bleak. To upgrade not only would we be spending more on the home but rates have more than doubled. It's wild. Anyone else in a similar boat? Rates have risen dramatically while housing costs have remained steady. I'm with you but don't mind it so much. I have a 2.375 mortgage and LTV of 50. My income doubled since buying this house in 2018. I'd love a higher-end home with a bigger yard and garage. But not enough to triple or quadruple my mortgage payment to get it. We're remodeling a bit and investing more. Tiny violin. Millions of Americans are in the same boat. You're in a much better position than most people. If you want to change, I'm sure you can find a way. I'm still trying to figure out how it makes sense to purchase my first home in this environment. I prioritized paying off 6 figures in student loans over the last 3 years instead of buying a house and ended up getting screwed by the market. An easy way to do this is to use the money you're saving for a larger down payment. My wife and I happily slip on our golden handcuffs every night. We have a 2.125 rate 15-year and bought our house for peanuts back in 2017. To sell now and upgrade would more than triple our mortgage payment and add maybe 500 square feet. Ask yourself, what did you do with the extra money you saved comparing to as if your loan is 4.5? Did you just spend them like free money? If you save all of them and invest, you are getting capital from it, which can be used to pay the gap when you get a 6 loan. Hope it makes sense. I bought in 2020. My rate is 2.5. I don't consider myself to have a golden handcuff situation. I consider myself very lucky. Despite an increase in income, and decrease in debt, I couldn't afford this same house today with the current interest rates and the current FMV. Forever home is such a weird concept to me. Life can change in instant so it's impossible to say forever home. What makes you want to move so quickly after buying it? We're also sorry that your monthly payment is so small. I hope you make it out okay. We are at 3.5. Tried like hell to refi at lower rates but was in extended major renovations and couldn't get financing when home was down to the studs without PMI so didn't move forward. Currently about 50 LTV. Even though we don't have that sweet sub-3 interest, we were planning to move sometime in 2023. No longer the case and no definitive plan to do so. Our house is now in great condition so just trying to enjoy all the renovation work but we do not like living in Houston which is where we are. Seems like the way to capture the benefit of that low rate for the new house is to keep the old house with 2020 mortgage payment and rent it for 2023 rents. The extra you receive each month reduces your new mortgage payment. A few years. Wow. Like that scene in Blow. Okay guys, there's no room in the house for these huge stacks of cash. You haven't been in the house for 3 years yet and you're whining about golden handcuffs? GTFO. The future looks bleak. Only as bleak as you make it. Holy shit. Rates are higher than they were, but lower than when I bought my first home in 2001. Quit fucking whining. Just be patient. Either rates will eventually come down or you'll continue to pay your current mortgage down which will give you more buying power in the future. Sit back and enjoy. Imagine crying about your mortgage payment being so low you don't want to move. Talk about entitlement. TBH, I don't see how you're a victim. You have a house at a low rate, and you're bummed you can't upgrade in a few years. Are you saying you don't like your house, felt pressured to buy it due to good interest rates in 2020, and would rather have just rented to present day? If your home appreciated you can sell it and rent again? Kinda the same. I'm selling a duplex with 2.25 and taking the equity and putting it into the dream home. It's about 600 more a month, but it's such a better place for me to live, and I can rent a room if I want for 1,400 to cover the difference. It's almost a trade on my end, but I end up with dream house and shit rate. Honestly, get the fuck over it. Just wait a little while. OMG, my rate is so good, fuck. This is the dumbest bitch by people the past year or so. Spend some time in the threads about people struggling to buy a house in this insane climate, partly because of people as fortunate as yourself who don't want to sell, and maybe you'll get some perspective about your future looking bleak. 2.65. Probably made a bundle on equity gains since you bought. So lucky. Once in a lifetime rate that will never come back. You are truly blessed. Not sure what good whining about it is going to do. Bro, everyone else is never even going to be able to afford what you have, so quit complaining. We all want mansions on hills. The world is fucked right now and we are all feeling this way. Upgrading is overrated considering you're throwing lots of money away in realtor commissions. Rates will drop eventually, everything goes in cycles. God help us all when the rates get back into the 3-4% range. Houses are gonna be out of control. Rates really are not wild. Current rates are at historical norms. My first house came with a 13 rate. Now that was wild. You were lucky when you bought your first home with historically low mortgage rate that likely allowed you to buy more house than you normally would have been able to afford. Thinking rates would remain at 3 forever is wild. Be happy with what you have. No offense, but boo-hoo, lol. We are trying to buy our first right now and it feels impossible. Due to rates housing prices, we have a limited budget much lower than we could have had if rates prices were lower. And we are competing with many we've been looking since March in South Jersey. Forever home, I love real estate marketing memes. I sold my 3.25 interest home last week and bought a larger single family with 6.9. If you can afford the payment, then buy it. Life isn't that long. That's ridiculous to have a pity party of it. Most people in the world over most of history have very simple housing. The mini-mansion dream home is not normal or sustainable. Just be glad for what you have. No matter what, you're still way better off than someone who doesn't own. Same. I moved for my job in 2021 and got 2.65 as well. Now I want to move again, but I won't get as much for my house or as good of a rate, so I'm staying a couple more years. Rates plus the market not cooling off at all. It puts you in a bad spot where you feel lucky to have bought when things were somewhat in your favor. But stuck because things aren't really in your favor anymore. In summary, shit's off the damn rails, and also, fuck this economy. I feel up. I really feel bad for you, and certainly not for today's FTHBs who have no equity and are looking at rates 7 with higher prices than you paid. We also have golden handcuffs. We have a 2.25 on our first home that we're in now. We have been shopping around for few months now. We are expecting in December, so an size upgrade is necessary. And we'd like to be fully moved in and settled before the birth. We made a list of ours once and I believe we have found the house. With the offer they are submitting, we can buy the rate down to 5.9, which is much better than I was prepared for. J. Powell has said when inflation reaches 2 they will be lowering interest rates again in a few years. I'm in the 3.5 zone and feel the same way, so I'm making extra payments to pay down principal faster and accumulate more equity, and upgrading things I really want in the house, such as adding insulation and a heater to the garage, a gas line for the kitchen and back deck, and we're going to be adding a rain barrel and raised beds next. So instead of a move and upgrade by 2025 plan, let's make it as livable and nice as possible on a smallish budget, and then wait till I can safely afford the next thing plan. Anyone else in a similar boat? I think that's every idiotic rushed pandemic purchase, lol. Rip the band-aid off and upgrade. It's what I did. It sucked, but now I don't have that sinking feeling of being stuck in a house I don't love. Spend the money if you got it. It's what the money's for.